Well, hello, you lovely people. Today we're here to chat about everything that I want to read in October. October is soon upon us, which is wild. It feels like September didn't even occur. It went so quickly, and yet so much happened. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're chatting about October. So I do have quite a few spooky books on here, thrillers, horrors, and a little bit of dark reads. So let's start with what I am currently reading that I don't think I'm going to be able to finish by the time October comes around. So we're throwing them on the TBR. And the first is such a fantastic book. I'm telling you, I'm loving Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. This is, I would say, a feminist retelling of the Ted Bundy murders. You follow two women in this book. One of the women lived in a sorority at Florida State University when this man comes in and brutally murders and injures several of the girls in the sorority in the middle of the night. She survives. She's the president of the sorority. And one of her dear friends is murdered by this man, and she's dealing with that. You also follow a woman basically across the country named Tina, who believes that her best friend, her dear friend, has also been murdered by this man. And so they come together and are trying to track down this person. So far, this is fantastic. It really is a feminist version of it because, well, first of all, there is no name given to the man. He's referred to as the defendant. And our main character is looking back. In part of this book, she is looking back and going, you know, we have spent so much of our time in the media and just generally looking at this guy and thinking, oh, he was so clever, he was so handsome, and really obsessing over him when he is a person who did some terrible things. And look at the women that he killed. Look at their promise. Look at how bright they shone. And it looks at how society at this time in the 70s really didn't appreciate women as much as they should. And this happens still to this day. Women still might be, raped, and you have to answer all sorts of questions about what you were wearing to the police. And this covers that so well. Okay, I'm going to stop going on and on about this book, but I'm telling you, you're going to be hearing about this book from me for many years to come because I'm loving it that much. I'm like savoring it. Okay, so good. So that's Bright Young Women. I also would like to continue my read of Shrines of Gaiety by Kate Atkinson. You guys know I love Kate Atkinson, and this is her most recent book. I actually think she's coming out with like a short story collection very soon. This book follows a woman named Nellie. It is just after the Great War has ended. We're in 1926. And London has some, like an underbelly, essentially. And Nellie owns a club. And we meet her in this book emerging from prison. And it follows her, I think, going kind of back and forwards in time when she is developing this club and also when she starts to have enemies. Kate Atkinson has stunning writing. I love her writing so much. I especially love her historical fiction stuff. Life After Life is, I think, my favorite book of all time. And so I'm so happy to be reading this on audio. Next up is a book that I have not hauled yet, but I will. You'll be seeing this in an upcoming haul. It is 4,000 Weeks. Embrace Your Limits, Change Your Life. Time Management for Mortals. So apparently, if you live an average life or an average lifespan, you'll have right around 4,000 weeks in your life. And this is time management for mortals, really, because it makes you look at your life and really essentially go, I'm not going to fit all of this in. Like this TBR, I might not be able to read all of these books in my lifetime. And this really forces you to go, what is actually important to me? It's really an interesting take on time management. So much time management advice is about how you can pack it all in. And this is about don't do that by all means, unless you want a poor quality of life and to feel burnt out most of the time. Don't do that. Try to focus on things that truly matter to you at the end of the day, because we only have 4,000 weeks. It's a bit jarring because I'm really struggling this year with mortality and the concept of mortality, and I'm just, the struggle is real. I know I'm not alone, but there's something about becoming a mother. It's been whirling around up there. And this is a slap in the face in a lot of ways, because it's like you do have, finite time. It's not infinite. And so how do you want to spend that time? It's really interesting. I'm liking it for sure. There was actually a girl on TikTok that read out this paragraph and made me run and buy this book immediately. So I'm going to read it to you too. To describe attention as a resource is to subtly misconstrue its centrality in our lives. Most other resources on which we rely as individuals, such as food, money, and electricity, are things that actually facilitate life. And in some cases, it's possible to live without them, at least for a little while. Attention, on the other hand, just is life. Your experience of being alive consists of nothing other than the sum of everything to which you pay attention. At the end of your life, looking back, whatever compelled your attention from moment to moment is simply what your life will have been. So when you pay attention to something you don't especially value, it's not an exaggeration to say that you're paying with your life. Like, I don't know fully what to do with that yet, but I will tell you I stopped watching The View. Okay, moving right along. Yes. Next up on audio, after I finish Shrines of Gaiety, I am going to be listening to Happiness Falls. This is the new book by Angie Kim. Thank goodness she's coming out with another one. She wrote Miracle Creek, and I loved that book. And Happiness Falls also focuses on families. In particular, we're following one family and their brother, who I believe cannot speak. I don't know what health issue he has that he's not able to speak. He comes into their home one day quite bloody, and they soon realize after some time that their father is missing, and they're trying to figure out where their father is. And they can't get any information from their brother, and it's this family dealing with this terrifying ordeal. So I want to read that for sure. And then I've got a few books here. Some are from my fall TBR, and some of them I've just added in because how am I going to read all of this? I don't know, but I'm going to try. So first up is theme music. I've really only heard great things about this. This follows a woman who, when she was a baby, her father murdered their entire family, the whole family except her. She was left to live, and 35 years later, I believe, no, 25 years later, she is still at a loss for what happened that night. Getting to know her family from the grave, beyond the grave, and just struggling with it. She decides to go back to her childhood home and move in order to connect in a strange way. And I believe there might be some ghosties that appear if something sinister starts to pop up for this woman. Not surprising. Anyway, I think it's going to be great. I've heard good things. Next is something I just threw on. I threw this on the TBR. It's Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I've just heard so many good things about Rachel Harrison in general as an author. I would like to read this. This follows a woman named Annie. Things have kind of fallen apart in her life. She is moving away and trying to get away from her boyfriend and everything that happened there. So she moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate to teach. And she gets there and she's just delightfully surprised. Everyone seems so sweet and kind. It is this small, cozy town that just feels good. And she meets a friend, Sophie, who is beautiful and charming and empowering. And yet many of the people in this town are afraid of Sophie. And Annie's not exactly sure why, but she does feel like there is something slightly different about Sophie. Sophie's appearance is uncanny and ageless. Her mansion is in the middle of the woods, a little bit unearthly. She seems to wield a certain power. So is Sophie a witch? I've heard great things about this, that it's kind of cozy, but also scary and spooky at the same time, which is perfect for this time of year. Next is Strange Sally Diamond, another book that I've only heard good reviews about. This is Liz Nugent, and she is an Irish author who writes delightfully despicable characters. I don't know if Strange Sally Diamond will be one of those. But we meet a woman who very suddenly finds out that she is not who she thought she was. She discovers something terrible about a family history, a family she didn't even know she belonged to. But she finds out alongside the entire world. And she is, set to figure out what happened to her. She had been adopted when she was 7 by a psychiatrist, and she knew nothing about her life. She didn't remember anything before then. I'm assuming she's going to start to remember things and have flashbacks, because I have memories from before I was 7. I don't know about any of you, but I feel like, I don't know, the age where you start remembering things is like, what, 3 or 4? In any case, I cannot wait for this. 3 more books. We're doing good. We have 3 more books. This will be read like really quickly. This is Witches, Midwives, and Nurses, A History of Women Healers. I think this is going to be super interesting because, yes, people in history have not liked women with power, especially health, and that's why doctors came in and ruined women's rights, even back in the 16th century, 17th century. And I'm kind of curious to learn a little bit more about that. Such a fascinating topic in my mind. Intensity is next. This is about a woman who goes to stay over at a friend's house, and in the middle of the night, someone comes in and starts killing everyone. Now, she is able to escape this treacherous death, but she finds out that she somehow knows who his next victim is going to be, and she's trying to save this person. Again, only heard good things about this. Hate the cover of this. Like, we're due for a cover redo. Okay, this is horrible. Ugh, that's just nasty. In any case, it's still going to be good, and I'm still going to read it. And last, but certainly not least, is Let the Right One In. This is a vampire story. We follow a little boy who lives in an apartment building. He's having a tough time at school. He's being bullied at school, but he does find a friend in a little girl who lives in the apartment building with him, but she only comes out at night because she's a vampire. This is such a big book. A little bit nervous about the chunkiness of it, but I've heard good things. I want to read it. I think I watched the American version of this movie. Like there's, I think several movies have been done on this, and I've watched the American one, but I don't really remember very much. Future me popping in. I'm adding another book to the TBR. I just couldn't help myself. Nora's here too. Hey?
Mama?
Yeah.
When I was lifting my doggy up and she was walking.
Okay, that's
She
fun.
could walk.
But at the same time, I think we need to be gentle with Winnie, okay? Okay, excellent. So I went ahead and bought the September House today. I was at Chapters and I want to read this so badly. So it's going on the October TBR, and this is about a woman and actually a couple who move into a house. They get it for a steal, and of course it's haunted, but only in September. The month of September, for some reason, like the walls drip with blood, etc. And they've somehow managed to just live there. Like most people would leave that situation. I would. But they live with it until one day Hal decides to leave. And our main character, Margaret, stays. And then her daughter shows up. And she's trying to like figure out what to do with her daughter and this haunted house. I don't know if the daughter knows about it. Anyway, I'm going to read this too. Those are all of the books that I really want to read in October. Let me know in the comments below what you're planning on reading for that spooky season. Are you a spooky reader? Do you like scary things, or do you like to veer away from that and just read something else? I'd love to know, and I will talk with you soon. Bye, guys.